Guys, gals, non-binary pals, welcome back once again to another exciting and thrilling episode in the vinyl collection, whatever, you know. Yeah, back again, still managed to scrounge up some pretty decent number of releases this time round. Pretty pleased with what I've been getting my hands on. Found some pretty great deals, which frankly I was astonished that I paid this little for some of these. It feels like I'm robbing people almost, you know, which is kind of crazy. But you know how this goes. I've been buying some records. I'm going to show them to you, maybe give you a little look at some fun pressings or whatever, because there's some pretty cool looking ones in this pile, I'll tell you that for a fact. And I'm just going to have a little chit-chat about the album for a little bit. You know, nothing much, nothing fancy. This isn't a review or anything. I might just tell you a little bit about my experiences with the album, the band, the whatever, you know. So let's get into it. We're going to go in alphabetical order as per usual. So let's get right into it then. First up, it's the brand new album that I reviewed a couple of weeks ago now, I think it is. The new Alcest album, Les Chants de l'Aurore. The Song of Dawn, I think it stands for, or something like that. It's a really, really great album. I've been thoroughly enjoying this one. Comes in a really funky looking transparent yellow, which I think looks really, really nice. Very, very cool album. Yeah, obviously I've reviewed this one in full on the channel earlier, like I say, but that doesn't mean that I can't give a little bit of a summarization of how I feel about this one. Fantastic record. Really great return to form for Alcest, kind of harkening back a little bit more to their earlier works, but it still manages to carry a little bit of that spirit of Shelter within it as well. You know, it's a bit softer than the likes of Kodama or Spiritual Instinct or anything like that, but it's certainly a lot heavier than Shelter. It kind of, for me, feels like it's the perfect marriage of all styles that the band has approached. And to be able to do that this late into their career at this point, I think is phenomenal. Brilliant record, beautiful album art. Check this one out. Right, we double dip in it next time. It's some Steven Wilson stuff, but not what you might be thinking. It's Blackfield 1 and Blackfield 2. Now, if anybody out there has the audacity to tell you that there's more than two Blackfield albums, I would like to politely point out that these people are incorrect. You should not listen to their opinions about anything, because there are only two Blackfield albums. Everything else just is a weird fever dream that never actually happened. You can just ignore those ones, you know. It's just push them back into the bin where they belong. All joking aside though, Blackfield 1 and Blackfield 2 came to me whilst I was at university, at a time when I was discovering myself. You know, I was figuring out who I am, and these records, despite how, when you look back at them, they are really kind of, I don't want to say juvenile, but I'm leaning towards the word juvenile, because they are a little bit sort of like, I'm 14 years old and this is deep in terms of the lyricism, you know. You've got pain, cloudy now, this hole in me, oh, it's the end of the world, where is my love, etc, etc. You get the idea. The lyricism on these records is not subtle, it's very, yeah, whatever. But at the time that I listened to them, I was really, really into it. I felt a really strong emotional connection and resonance with these albums, both of them, quite frankly. And they're still brilliant. They're still brilliant. I think one of these is like the 20th anniversary repress, I think it is. I think maybe it's Blackfield 1. Don't quote me on that. Let's find out. I'm sure it was one of them. Let's have a little look. Throwing things everywhere at the moment. Oh yeah, it's totally this one. So that comes on this really funky looking, like marbly, coppery kind of thing. And it's lovely. Still great records. I mean, I think it does help if you have prior nostalgia for them, to be honest with you. I'm not sure I'd recommend somebody check these out now, because they do feel a little bit of a product of their time, if that makes any sense, you know? It was kind of like that stage of Steven Wilson's career where he was feeling all melancholy, I mean, even more so than usual, let's be honest here. And it really reflects in the music, and especially the lyricism, but I love these albums. I think they're fantastic. I really, really enjoy listening to them, especially if I'm feeling mopey and depressed and want to sort of like get my emotions like transferred through the musicality of everything that I'm listening to. So, good fun. Right, with that sadness out of the way, let's get to some aggression. It's another double dip, kids. We've got death and death. We've got double death. We've got The Sound of Perseverance, and we've got Individual Thought Patterns. Both of these are brilliant, brilliant albums. They're not my favourite Death albums. No, that will probably be... oh, golly. Human and Symbolic. Yeah, we'll go with those. But these two are still very, very good. I got these because they were cheap. I'm not going to lie, I didn't pay very much money for either of these. and they were partly funded by vouchers that I got from work for being a good little boy at my job, so that was nice, that was nice. I enjoyed that. But yeah, both of these come on funky looking vinyl. These are part of a repress, reissue sequence. I can't remember when they were repressed. It was quite recently, to be honest with you. But they look cool. They look cool. Sound Perseverance one, again, look at that. That's cool as hell, right? That looks so freaking good. I love it. I am a sucker for coloured vinyl, especially like splatter effect ones. I just think they look so friggin' good on the turntable. Always nice to watch them spin, gotta be said. And Individual Thought Patterns one is really colourful. For a death album, this is a very colourful press, It's like, okay, that's a lot going on. You look at this. Look how pink and vibrant and freaky looking that is. I love it. I think that's fantastic, If you've never listened to Death before, I mean, I can imagine there will be some of you out there who've never listened to this band before. If you are one of those lucky few people who've never experienced the joy of Death before, then you've got so much fun ahead of you. I will always go on record as saying that they are the most consistently excellent band who've ever existed. They had I think 7 studio albums, I think it was overall, and literally every single one of them is an absolute masterpiece. I mean, Scream Bloody Gore is maybe slightly lower down on the tier ranking, I think, just because it was the very first album. It was, still kind of finding its feet a little bit. But after that, it's just everything is just unbelievable. I will say Symbolic is probably one of the best records ever made, not just one of the best death metal albums ever made, just one of the best albums ever. So do check out Death if you've never listened to them. You've got such a good ride ahead of you. Once again, it's another double dip. I seem to be doing a lot of these so far. We've had 2 Blackfield albums, we've had 2 Death albums, now we've got 2 Dream Theater albums. Well, at least the sort of, weird kind of bootleggy thingy that they were doing. What do they call this series of things again? I can't remember. What was it? I don't know. Oh, the Lost Not Forgotten demos. That's the one. I knew it was something like Lost Not Forgotten. Like the song Lost Not Forgotten from... blah, blah, blah. Oh, don't test my knowledge. It's a dramatic turn of events. There we go. I got there in the end. So I picked these both up for a ridiculously tiny amount of money. These were like £12 each, I think, or maybe it was even like £11. It wasn't a lot. It was very, very little amount of money. And we got the Images and Words demos, and we've also got which one was it? The Making of Falling Into Infinity. As far as I'm concerned, the most underrated Dream Theater album ever. I don't understand why it gets so cruelly spat on. I love it very, very much. Images and Words demos, though, extremely cool. This is like a triple LP as well, which is kind of crazy. You've got so you've got some instrumental demos up there from a bunch of things. You've got the some pre-production demos. That's kind of cool. What I found really, really interesting about this was the vocalist audition demos. There, you got Don't Look Past Me with Jon Hendricks on vocals. 2 versions of To Live Forever, one with Jon Hendricks and one with Steve Stone, and then a Change of Seasons with Chris Cintron. Or is it Kintron? I don't know. Whatever it is. But this is really, really cool. This is very much... Well, both of these albums, really, to be honest. They're not really albums per se. It's not like it's just like a completely different version of each of these albums. This is very much a case of its weird excerpts, or it's like little fun stuff like the uber hardcore fans really listen to. And considering that I got these for so cheap and how much fun I've been having listening to some of these weird little instrumental noodly demo bits about songs that I'm incredibly familiar with, it's been a lot of fun listening to this. So yeah, I felt really, really fortunate to get these for the price that I did. I don't think I'd have paid full whack for them because they are kind of curios at the end of the day rather than any serious listening experience. But hey, £12 a pop, you can't really go too far wrong for that, considering this one's a triple LP with a CD, and this one's a double LP with a CD. So, got a lot of bang for my buck there, which is pretty cool. Right, that's the end of the double dipping. At least I think it is anyway, I can't remember. We'll find out later, won't we? Coming up next is Gazpacho and Night. Now this for me is their finest hour. I've been a big fan of Gazpacho for quite some time, but I have kind of fallen off the wagon a bit with them lately. Fireworker was Moloch was Demon was amazing, don't get me wrong. Demon's incredible, I friggin' love that album. But for me, they really peaked with Night. I felt this was such a class album. It was such a great example of how to do this kind of music. And no, I thought it was a special version. It's not. It's just basic black. That's fine, though. That's fine. Yeah, this one really set me on to this band. This was my... Was it my first exposure to the band? It might have been. I don't remember. Either which way, I remember hearing Massive Illusion in isolation of the rest of the album one time, and I was brought to tears almost immediately by it. I was like, oh, emotional, oh. And I just sort of like had to listen to the rest of the album like immediately after that. And then with the context of all the songs that came before it, leading into Massive Illusion, I was like, oh, emotions again! And it was heartbreaking. You know, there was tears, there was like snot, and feeling absolutely wretched, but in the best possible way, you know, in the best possible way that only music can manage. So if you really want to have a good cry and get an album that will just disintegrate you emotionally, then I cannot recommend this one enough. Check it out. Okay, now this band, I was extremely grateful for the fact they basically came back from the dead recently, which was great because they've done a fantastic job of becoming alive again. But that being said, nothing can really hold a candle to my first experience with the band, which is Pure Reason Revolution and The Dark Third. Now, I've had this on CD for a very, very long time, but I wanted it on vinyl, dang it. I really, really wanted it on vinyl. I found it for a really great price. I think this was like £23, I think, when I got it. And honest to God, I cannot get enough of this album. This has been one of the most important sort of modern prog rock albums for me. This was something I found when I was first discovering prog, when I was first really getting into it, you know, back in, once again, at university. This is like where it all happened, basically, you know. There was me up in my room listening to prog rock whilst everyone else was out at the club, you know. I was like, I'm the cool one now, baby, yeah. Yeah, right. But no, I obsessed over this record, and specifically, I obsessed over the Tunkin and Trembling Willows. Those two tracks right there. I was obsessed. I am still obsessed. I adore those tracks. They are unbelievable. Listen to them in isolation. If you're going to do anything from this video, check those two out and have prepared to have your mind blown wide open by some of the best modern prog you'll ever hear in your life. Incredible. But the rest of it's good as well, you know? The rest of it is also really, really good. Like, where is it? Where's he gone? Where is he? He's in here somewhere. I've lost it. Where's it gone? Bright Ambassadors of Morning. There we go. I found it in the end. The first track of side 2. That's a hell of a thing as well. That was another track that really got me through like so much. And I'm thrilled. Honestly thrilled to bits to have this on vinyl. I'm holding this deep now, close to my heart, never to ever to be let go. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful record. Check it out. Right, next up, it's a, modern repress of a classic album. It's Queen with Sheer Heart Attack. I love this album. I would probably go on record as saying this is easily a top 3 Queen album for me. I think it is superb. I think most people don't really know many of the tracks on here because, I mean, apart from Killer Queen, if you ask, like, Joe Public, can you name me any other track off this album? Or if you show them that, have you ever heard of any of these tracks? Chances are they're probably going to turn around and say, absolutely not. What are they talking about? Is this even Queen? Who knows? Whatever. That being said, I love this. This is an incredible album. For me, Tenement Funster, Flick of the Wrist, Lily of the Valley. What a trio. What a 3-hit combo. Unbelievable album. Incredible stuff. Definitely for me one of Queen's greatest hits. Right, next up, we're nearly at the end, by the way, just so you're aware. This was a ridiculous deal. I am convinced I got this, like, mislabeled price or something like that off of Amazon because I feel like I'm just literally stealing from people at the moment. I got this for £11. It is Revel in Time by Arjen Anthony Lucason's Star One. Now, I did review this on the very early days of the channel, back in the bygone days. And look at that, all these lovely people involved in that. Aren't they all lovely? I mean, oh, look at them all. You've got all, like here you go, you've got Will Shaw, he's got a great big beard. That's a very big beard. It's bigger than mine. I've got some beard envy now, I think. Oh, Sir Russell Allen. Of course it's Sir Russell Allen. You know, you've got to pay respect. Lovely Michael Mills there of Toehider, and above him the fabulous Ross Jennings from Haken. They actually have the best track on the album, not going to lie. Incredible. Where are we? There it is, Prescient. Best track off the album, hands down. Yeah, I love this album. I love Star One as a concept. The whole idea of just, like, making music about sci-fi movies, I think is brilliant. I love it so very, very much. Wasn't quite so keen on the second album. I felt it was a bit flat compared to the first, but what do I know? I don't make music, I just talk about it. But this one, I love it. I absolutely loved this album. Revel in Time was one of my favourite releases when it came out, and I still love it now. And the fact that I got it for, like, £11. And this includes the CD as well, so I do feel like I've, you know, robbed somebody a tiny bit on that, but at the end of the day, I've got an amazing copy of an amazing album, and I'm very, very pleased about it. Ah yes, the album I refuse to ever shut up about until literally everybody in the history of the universe has listened to it. It is Kaleidoscope by The Stranger. Oh my god, yeah, I never stop talking about this album, and I don't think I ever will, because it's honestly one of the best progressive metal albums of the 2020s, and you need to listen to it, like, right now. Just do whatever, but, you know, I mean, just look at this. Look at it, he's so pretty. Oh, I love it. I love it so, so very, very much. All the way from Australia. Well, I've had a great time listening to this record recently. Do apologise to the entire continent of Australasia for that. That was the worst possible accent I could have done, but hey ho, there we go. I'm going to keep it in the video because I don't care. This is ridiculous. It's spectacular. There are not enough good things that I can say about this, and I will just finish by saying, if you want incredibly strong, vocally driven, riff-tastic progressive metal that will set the hairs on the back of your neck on end every single time you listen to it, then for God's sake, just throw whatever else you're listening into the bin. Just chuck it out the window. Be gone with it. Who cares? You could be listening to this instead. Go, right now, immediately, pronto, listen to Kaleidoscope by The Stranger. I demand that you do it. Just And last, but of course by no means least, it's one of my favourite albums by one of my favourite artists. It is the fabulous, the wonderful, the inimitable Devin Townsend and Terrier. This is the recent repress of the album. I think it was available on vinyl once before. I don't know, maybe not. But it has recently been repressed for this year, and how could I not get this album? This is literally one of my favourite albums ever made. Everything on it is perfect. We've got 2 bonus tracks as well, Humble and Universal, which is really, really cool. But that opening sequence of songs, Olives, into Mountain, into Earth Day, into Deep Peace. Oh my god. I can actively remember going to see Devi back, oh god, how long ago would it have been now? Pre-pandemic, certainly. So I want to say maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I think. Something like that, when I was but a wee babu, you know, before I'd even hit my 30s, which was nuts thinking about that now. Or maybe it was just after I hit my 30s. Either way, a fairly decent wedge of time ago. And I'd seen Devi quite a number of times live up until this point, you know. I'd seen him... Well, I think to date, I've seen him at least a dozen times live, I think. I would say. Maybe an estimate. Maybe over. Maybe like 10. Maybe 9 or 10. I don't know. It's a lot, you know. And I had been desperate for him to play Deep Peace, you know. I was just, every time I've been to see him, I was like, please, 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 Deep Peace, please, 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 Deep Peace. Never happened. Never happened. It was kind of like with Between the Buried and Me and Selkies, and eventually they did play Selkies, and I had an emotional breakdown in the, you know, the pit. That was fun. And the same kind of deal really happened when Devi eventually played Deep Peace as well when I saw him live. I just thought, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to hold this together emotionally. And I was right. I didn't. I was bawling my eyes out. I was in floods of tears because it was so emotional and I was so overwhelmed, and it was the most beautiful moment of my life at that time, until the next most beautiful part of my life, you know, comes along, whatever that might be. Who knows? Maybe I'll see him again and he'll play Deep Peace again, and maybe then he'll also play Bastard and The Death of Music, and then I'll just not know what the hell to do with my life anymore after I've seen that, because then it'll be, you know, mission complete, life accomplished, etc, blah de blah. Yeah, anyway, Terrier by Devin Townsend is one of the best albums he's ever made. It's completely S tier for me. Everything hits, everything lands perfectly. Incredible album. If you've never listened to any Devin Townsend before, just start with this, you know, I mean, you might as well start with the best and work your way backwards, I suppose. But yeah, incredible record. So thrilled to have this on vinyl. So, there we go. That's it. That's the vinyl update for this sequence of time. We'll call it the July vinyl update. Sure, why not? We're halfway through July. These have obviously all been sort of purchased for over the last couple of months, I think it is. I can't remember when I did my last vinyl update. That was a big one, though. Oh, boy. Yeah, I've been getting quite lucky with some prices on some of these. I've not been paying very much. I think the most I paid for anything in this was... I'm not sure. Maybe £30, I think, for Alcest, I think it was. I know I didn't even pay that much for that. I don't think I paid 25. Whatever it was, I've not paid a great deal of money for any of those vinyl, which is really, really good for me, and good for the wallet. Hooray, go me. So, yeah, there we go. If you have listened to any of those particular records in the pile down there, which is now sort of like slowly sliding, don't do that. That could have been very much a disaster. Please do let me know what you thought about those records in the comments down below. I'm sure a lot of you have listened to a lot of them, and if you've not listened to any of them, then you've got some fantastic homework to do, and I think you're going to have a real blast with every single one of those down there, especially Kaleidoscope by The Stranger, which again I'm going to thrust upon everybody listening to this and make sure they actually go out there and check that album out. I refuse to sit in a world where people are not listening to that album. So get thee to it right now, pronto. If you've listened this far, guys, and you've put up with my incessant wibbling about music, thank you very, very much for making it this far. God knows I probably won't have managed. But hey, I'm the one recording it, not listening to it. So until next time, guys, as always, keep your rhyme signatures pretty odd.